Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Jann Arden podcast. And welcome back to our entire crew who's intact this week. Lots of things going on in the summertime. Lots of little vacays going on. Caitlin Green is here with us. Sarah Burke. They're both in their respective homes in Toronto. I'm in my home in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Listen, we got such a potpourri to talk about today. And you're going to want to stick around for the entirety of this particular episode because we do get into some crushes.
Like, are you teasing?
Crushes
are you teasing?
I'm doing a bit of a tease right now because I'm going to
bring
it up.
X-rated this week. Just saying,
it does. We do say the word penis at one point in this podcast, which is grammatically and
medically great,
medically correct. It's a medical grade show. So let's just get into it, girls. What have you been up to? What's going on, and how have your travels been?
Great. I was out east, loving out east life, having fish and chips, seeing my husband's soon-to-be 95-year-old grandmother, and just getting a lot of time with cousins. Will getting time with his cousins is my favorite thing. My husband got to play golf. I would say all around very successful for everybody.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I feel like I've already caught Jen up, but like on last week's episode, is particularly in Patreon if you want to get caught up on the Italian romance. There's a little bit in there.
Very interesting. It's one of those really like cute kissing under a grove of fucking olive trees kind of a story. And I was living vicariously through you. And I think those are so great. I love a good kissing moment where
and there's more
you
to
don't
come
have
on
to.
That.
Oh.
Right, with the end of the episode that you were teasing, yes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you saw someone's full cannoli. I wasn't sure where this was going.
Oh my god!
I did
folks.
not. I know I could have. I though,
Summer
but I was
loving had me a blast. Summer loving.
This weekend it is summer. I'm so excited. I really needed summer to be here when I got back from Italy. It's hard going from beautiful Tuscan sun every day and coming back and being like, hello, are you here, summer?
Yeah, I was just out east in the Maritimes and it was not warm. It was a typical maritime June vibe of like you have to have a jacket and everyone has to like keep bringing a jacket out with them. And when it was windy, it was like 15. And that's the part that I couldn't deal with if I had to live out east.
The wind.
I love out east. Love going there. It comes up often because we have so many great family and friends there. And it is such a beautiful, nice place to live. But just the weather, I'm like, I can't wrap my head around it. It's bad enough being in Canada, period. But I'll take Southern Ontario over just about anywhere else weather-wise in the whole of Canada.
You sent us your summer vacay runs. What are the plans for the summer? I'm in full summer mode now. And I think our only Jans will be this weekend too.
We're doing a cottage. We're doing a cottage that's in the Frontenac region. So kind of like.
I was going to say, let us guess. Is it
no,
in Quebec?
It's not in Quebec. It's in the Frontenac region of Ontario. So it's like up towards Perth. So it's like north of Kingston. And then we're doing another trip out east because my cousin is getting married in Nova Scotia. So we're going to tack on another trip out there. And then the plan this year is maybe we'll do another week in September. But I really want to devote my lengthy trip to leaving Canada in the winter. It's shifted for me. I used to be like, oh, I'll go away in the summer vacation. I'd rather stay here while the weather's nice. And then in February, when I'm really just ready to jump into Lake Ontario, I'm going to like call it and go like, I'm going to go to Costa Rica for 2 weeks or Hawaii or wherever the heck.
What's the lake up in Perth area, Frontenac area? Do you know?
The one that we're on, because there's a lot of them, is called 30 Mile Lake, I think. It's either 30 Mile or 30 Island, one or the other.
I feel like that's close to Dog Lake, which is where all the Tragically Hip guys have their cottage homes.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Went to one party back in the day when I did radio in Kingston for like 7 months.
Oh.
So, and how about you, Jen? What about your summer plans?
I'm home most of I have odds and ends, a lot of corporate stuff. I need to get my book done. So I thought I would have it handed in before I left on tour. And you know what? I just didn't, because life just sometimes picks you up and it's just like, you ain't going to get that done, girl. You ain't going to get it done. And I think my editor, for the most part, Ann Collins, is just like, don't rush it. Nothing's coming out this year anyway.
Yeah.
And we still have to edit the draft and everything. So I think I'm just going to slowly chip away at that. But I'll be finished the tour at the end of the month. And then I have some outdoor summer festivals. I've got a big winery in Kelowna. I've got at the amphitheater in Drumheller in August that, holds, I don't know, 3,000 people. And it is set, it looks like the mini Grand Canyon. And believe it or not, they do like the Passion of Christ play there every year. People come from all over the world to Drumheller. The crosses on the hill, the lights at night. It's very dramatic. It's a huge production. I think they still do it. I'm pretty positive that they do the Passion of Christ there. Imagine traveling from, South Africa or somewhere in Lithuania to come to the Badlands in southern Alberta to see that. So the amphitheater is used quite a bit. I'm going to do that. I think they're expecting a little bit of protesting, if I'm not mistaken, because of the anti-separatist remarks that I made, several months ago, 6-7 weeks ago. But, I don't know if the attention span is there, and the show is sold out. So if people actually want to pay $200 to come in there and hurl an insult at me and then be removed by security, they're more than welcome to it, because that's money in my pocket. So let's just keep that in mind, folks.
Also, having protesters is cool.
Well, yeah.
Well, you're doing it wrong if you don't have protesters. Like if you're resisting, and women, all women should be resisting right now. This is human rights, women's reproductive rights, our right to do with our body what we will. And people always talk about, but in Canada, you know what? It doesn't matter if it's not happening to you. That's not when you protest. You protest when it's happening to other people that do not have the rights and the little power that you have left to stand up against and use your fucking voice. So anyway, it's all fine. I'm looking forward to it. Music is powerful. The arts are powerful. We talked about that on a podcast that we recorded earlier today with Adriana Trigiani.
She's coming up.
Yeah, she's coming up. But, she was so optimistic and she was so positive, but she talked about use your voice, get out there and participate in your community. So anyway.
And I just, to all the protesters, I say having protesters is very 2025. And honestly, Jan, I think it's chic. So I'm like, okay, you show up and protest. That's kind of cool. Maybe you'll get some extra headlines, some extra coverage. Maybe some extra merch will get sold. Who the heck knows? That's the other thing. Also, you encourage them to deface your merch, because then they'll buy it all.
Well, also, hey, you have the right to protest. What a concept. That's a Canadian, that is something that is given to you by the Charter of Rights. You can go and protest me. Hurrah. Like I can protest you. So when it's done peacefully, it doesn't have to be constructive. Yeah, I swore a lot, but you meet pressure with pressure. And but yeah, how great it is. So I welcome that. I'm not worried about it. That is your right to come and hold up a sign and tell me to fuck off and tell me to mind my own business. That's your right. So
at your show at Massey, you made the joke on stage about maybe potentially being greeted by security when you got home to Alberta. Was there anything in the airport?
No, okay. Nothing at all. I really don't think they're organized enough. Like I said, it's very, very fringe. If it's a few 100,000 people, I'd be surprised. And there's 5-6 million people here. And I think of that 100,000 people, they're poorly educated, and they don't really know what they're even talking about. Like, what currency are going to use? What passport are you going to use? What healthcare system are you going to use? So when they're looking at these things, we're going to separate, they really are not looking at. And we've talked about this before. In Quebec, they are still recovering from the secession movement that we saw happen in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s. They're still recovering as far as tourism, as far as their economic. So many giant corporations left Quebec when all that stuff was swirling around, and they've never come back. So there you have it.
There you have it.
There you have it. Well,
summer plans.
I didn't get a chance to talk about your show, because I was in Halifax last week when you guys were recording, but man, your show is good. I mean, not just because I'm on your podcast, but I went and like Meredith and I were sat next to each other, Meredith Shaw, and we went and we just kept looking at each other. And I was like, I think it's the best Jan's ever sounded. Cause like, I've obviously seen you perform before.
Yes.
But so many of the covers are just like, oh my God, the Seal cover. I was like, this cover is better, almost better for me than the original. And the stage production, all of it was great. And man, having a whole packed Massey Hall singing along, every word to a song is really special to be around. It was a thrill. It's great. I love
It
that
was
venue.
it was very special for me too, and it's a privilege to still have people show up. Sarah was able to come with her dad, so I was able to give him a hug, and it was nice to
It's so
kind of
cute.
see him, and it was nice to see you and Meredith, and I had just had so many of my dear Toronto friends. I've got such a nice group of friends in Toronto from spending all that time and through work, like you, through Chum, of course, and Cynthia Loyce through the social, and she brought her son Jaya. The first
Aw.
night, yeah, he
That's
lasted about half
nice.
the show. Let's say it's late, right? He's 9 years old,
Yeah.
but he thought it was really cool. But yeah, Massey Hall. There's something about that place. I was super nervous.
So magical.
I don't usually sweat, but I was just like, holy shit, I am a complete wreck.
But
But
we heard that, like, even the only Jans sitting in our row were talking about hoping that you were feeling better because apparently the heat was left on or something. There was like
well,
something
Paul
that happened.
Simon had been in the night before and he had the building cranked up. So it was almost 92 degrees in there. And so I slowly got dehydrated because of the heat. I think I wasn't on a lot of sleep. We'd been traveling a lot. I had a
Yeah.
show the night before and I'd been traveling. I only had one day off before that. And before that, I had two shows. So I was just coming to the end of the run.
Yeah.
And so I just got dizzy. And so I stopped the band at Gotta Be, which is the third last song. And I just left the stage. They went into Where No One Knows Me because they always are prepared for anything that might or might
So
not happen to
good.
me to go into a song. So all I needed to do was I knew there was a chair size stage. I just sat and I put my head between my legs and I had a big drink of water and I literally counted to 90. Chris was right there. He's like, "Are you okay?" Like, um, people at my age think you're either having a stroke or a heart attack. So I ruled that out immediately.
Oh, good.
And then I just came out, restarted Gotta Be, and finished the show.
This is why
And
people have
Amazing.
to train to tour. It's
yeah,
cardiovascular work.
but I was just like soaked through. So all my stuff
Thank
obviously
God.
has been dry cleaned. I will meet up with it again in Edmonton, my clothing. But thank God I changed 4 times because I just was
Honestly.
soaking everything straight through. But
Well,
yeah,
and you're in like a jacket or you're in like a bedazzled sort of vest
Like it's
and
oh fuck.
heavy.
it's heavy and like and they've been hand bedazzled in some cases by Chris. So I'm
Yes.
like, I
What a
think
guy.
that should be the next thing that gets auctioned. You should auction those off somehow because the glittering Anne Murray t-shirt and also Britney Spears and Avril Lavigne. There was a woman sat next to us who she had been the victim, I think, of a third-party reseller scam. So
Shit.
she was in front of us at the box office when I went to Will Call to pick up our tickets, and she was being very well assisted by the staff at Massey Hall. But her ticket didn't work. It wasn't actually legit. And so she bought another one on the spot and she had a fantastic seat, but she was sat by herself. So we get in and we realized that the woman in front of us from box office was beside us now by herself, but she was just thrilled to be there. And so then she started like interacting with us throughout the show. Like she was like our like third. And every time you came out, she'd be like, I think that's an Anne Murray shirt. Is that one Britney Spears? Is this Avril Lavigne? Like, and then she was like, what does the back of her jacket say? And I was like, it says mixtape. Like we were like, it was so cute to
Oh,
watch her
I
get
was so
excited about that.
wrong. I thought Phil Collins at one point. My dad was like, "You're stupid. You're stupid." Like,
listen, the whole point is see who you want to see. I think that's the
yeah.
point.
See?
But listen, if I had someone wearing a Jann Arden t-shirt out there, I'd be like stoked. And it
Yeah.
really was girl power.
The
And
selfie moment was great too. We never talked about that. That was
well, there
so
was a guy
cute.
in about row 5 or 6 that he had just gotten up to take a picture of me. And of course, security was on him in a second, but he tried to, but he couldn't get his camera going, whatever.
Sweetest old man. Sweetest
So
old
he
man.
sat back down again, and then a song went by, and then I just waved him up. I said, come on and let's try this again. And so he and I were trying to get his phone because I don't do Android. Like, I'm like, why the fuck do you turn the
Is that
camera
what you
around?
had? Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then never mind, I'd crouched down on my 6-inch Louis Vuitton heels, and I'm thinking, am I going to be able to stand up again? Because I had a guitar around
You
my
had a
neck.
guitar on.
Yeah, and but I
He
do
would have just
squats a
killed.
lot. Like I do leg stuff, and I'm thinking, nah, the kitten's got it. I'm gonna be able to stand up here, no problem. But it's a cute moment, I think, whenever you interact with the audience. And then it gave me a chance to tell a story about a guy that was watching me one year with binoculars in like the third row. And I'm like, do you need fucking binoculars when you're in the third row to look at me? But when I called him out, this was, 15 years ago, when I just said, can I get the house lights up and take a look at this gentleman, please? And why are you looking at me with binoculars in the third row? And then he said to me, I had him come up on stage. He said, I'm legally blind. And he said, these binoculars help me see shapes and stuff. And I was like, oh, like, I learned my lesson. I never fucking call people out really for doing anything
now you're
anymore.
like, who knows what's happening? And at this point, you're like, none of my business.
Knows.
But great audience interaction.
Yeah, it was really fun. I took a little video of it and posted it on my stories, and I got so many fun responses.
I reposted it.
I think so, yeah. And like so many Only Jans replied, and we're like, oh my God. So it was great.
Yeah. It means a lot that you guys came to the show, and I got a shout out to Chris Brunton. He put the whole production together. He's so involved in lighting and production design and how many times I change. And we sat before Christmas and did the set list. And when you have 17 records, it is next to impossible to put the set list. But it was Chris's idea. He said, let's just do 90s.
Yeah.
Let's do all your stuff from the 90s and keep it there, which made a lot of sense. So
totally,
people felt really nostalgic. And like Caitlin said, everyone was like singing along and doing all that stuff. So yeah.
So now you get a breath, and you get to metal detect and
a little breath. But yeah, I don't have any big trips planned. I think I might be going to Vegas to see Chelsea Handler for a night.
I was gonna say concerts. What are people doing? Any other concerts? Comedy?
So Chelsea would be like, are you doing some comedy stuff? Well, Chelsea obviously would be funny.
Yeah.
And actually, shout out to her. I DM'd her and I said, I think I'm coming down, to see your show at the Cosmopolitan. She goes, oh my God, I'll get you a room. Let's do dinner before the show. And I'm like, cool. And I'm like, a room. She goes, oh my God, they comp my rooms. Let me comp you a room. And which is fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's the night of the 5th. Her show is on the 5th of July. So I'm going to go down on the 4th and go down with a friend and see that.
Aren't Backstreet Boys doing like a big Sphere thing?
The Sphere?
Yeah.
They might be. Hey, listen, if I can find something to do on the 4th, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
And my friend's never been to Vegas before. So it's going to be extremely interesting.
And there's no shortage of like amazing shows to see in Vegas all the time. Like that's sort of why
you can figure it out day of.
100%.
Oh, yeah. Easy. And even those the real stock Cirque shows that I have seen a handful of times, I would go to see O again. Mm-hmm. I would go see there's so many of them that I would go see. There's that really sexy one. It's sort of the adult one where there's nude people in giant martini glasses.
Yeah. I don't know anything about this.
And dildos that make their way around an audience, and you pray that you don't get dragged on stage. And I mean, I'm not kidding you here. Like, there's
not Chelsea Handler, it's Cirque du Soleil.
It's definitely not Chelsea, although I would not put that past her.
Yeah, there's a horny Cirque, and then there's also like the Beatles and Elvis, and like there's like other ones. There's kind of a bit of everything in Vegas.
Go ahead.
The Cirque is in my neighborhood right now, and it always is. The Cirque du Soleil in Toronto. So it like basically takes over for.
What were you going to say, Caitlin?
I was going to say, have you ever gone to a strip club in Vegas?
No. Do I need to do that? Do I need a lap dance? Like, is that inappropriate for me to say? Like, am I objectifying people?
On the topic of Cirque, the strip clubs and the strip performers in Vegas are like Cirque du Soleil level, the stuff they can do.
Yeah. But they have clothes on. It's not what you think. It's not that lascivious thing, is it? It's like truly artists with the poles and women that they're putting themselves through medical school, folks. Like, this is really high level entertainment. This is not.
You're gonna get everything in Vegas, but like the big clubs, like the Spearmint Rhino, like you're gonna get like they have huge towering ceilings, and they have like a pole that will go from the ceiling all the way to the floor. And these women in bikinis can just climb up this pole using only the strength of their own body, and then twirl upside down all the way back down to the bottom without crash landing. Like, I watch it and just go, this is crazy. Like, this is such a feat of strength to do in a bikini or even topless. So anyways, I've only ever gone when I'm there for just an idea. I've gone when I'm there for bachelorettes. It is absurdly expensive, but whatever.
Okay. So well, I mean, I literally have 48 hours or 50 hours there. So it's just so fun to walk the strip. I was looking at the projected weather, and it's supposed to be 108 degrees Fahrenheit. So I think it's going to be, and I mean, talk about overheating.
It's dry heat though, so it's easier. It's
Okay.
easier.
But I'm
It's
really
not like
mindful
humid.
about, just drinking a lot of water and staying
Yes.
and, playing a little blackjack. I'm not
Please
going
wear
to lie.
sunscreen. Here's my
Yes, sunscreen, a hat.
my summer warning. I burnt my eyelids on the weekend. I fell asleep on the dock at the cottage and my eyes were like, I couldn't put any makeup on for a few days. They were but you don't think of putting like a sunscreen literally on your eye.
No, and it stings.
So I don't know what you're not supposed to. I'm sure that's bad for you, but anyway, I have this like it's like a dermatological one that's like a powder thing, so I was kind of putting that on my eyelids too the last few days.
Well, yeah, it is. Sarah is absolutely right. Like, fair warning out there, make sure, and don't use a 15, an SPS 15. You might as well fucking go out there with saran wrap, what do I say, IUD 15, DUI 15,
ASPCA.
SPF?
Yes.
Yeah.
The sun protection factor? What does it mean?
Well, that's probably right.
I don't know. I've never ever
I've
thought
never
of
even
that.
thought about it. I'm just like,
I don't think it's sun protection factor, but
it is. That sounds right to me. What else could it be?
Okay.
But
okay, I'm looking it up.
Use a 50. Use a
That's
50.
what I use. And like they make so many great sunscreens now. And I do like the powder one that Sarah
Sun
uses.
protection factor.
Woohoo!
Jan was right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an
Dr.
SPF.
Renault. Is that who you have, the powder? Dr. Renault?
No, I have Eminence.
Oh, okay. Very good.
So
and a lot of foundations
have it too. But the powder's good for the part of your hair.
Yes, if
that
you're fair.
is the one that I use it for, because I always was like, if they don't want to wear a hat, if it's not like a cute look for you or you've done your hair or whatever, I don't always want to have to wear a hat. So I started using that on my scalp and it's really good.
Yeah.
They should make a dry shampoo that has SPF in it. There. Free idea. Free idea.
I love
everyone.
that. Do we want voice notes? I have some voice notes.
If I love them.
Okay. These have not been screened. They are
Jesus.
loading, right?
Oh, it's live.
It's always dangerous.
Live.
Always dangerous.
You fucking idiots.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Fucking Jan.
Here is the first one.
From
Hi, Jan, Sarah, and Caitlin. It's Wendy. Jan, I wanted to tell you about my experience at your concert on June the 6th at First Ontario Concert Hall.
Hamilton.
It was amazing. My very dear friend Sarah arranged this for my birthday. I had no idea where I was going. We went out for dinner at a very fun place in Hamilton first, and then we wound up going to the event afterwards, and we knew that it was a 10-minute walk. And anyways, she kind of got the address wrong, and we wound up at First Ontario Place, which of course we found out is under construction right now, and I still didn't know where I was going at this point.
Sounds like me.
And then I stopped and asked someone because she said, I think we're at the wrong place. I think it's the concert hall. And so we were directed accordingly, walked in, and of course we were a few minutes late and quite nervous because we know how you love when people walk in late, and we didn't want to be singled out. But anyways, you didn't notice, so we were thankful for that. We enjoyed the evening so very much. Loved it. Love your mixtape. And just thank you so much. It just made my entire birthday.
Thank you, Wendy.
It's very
That's
sweet.
what it's all about. Spending time, with a friend, having a nice meal, and not being called out for being late. So what a perfect evening.
Okay, here's another one.
Hi, Jan and friends. I just wanted to come on here and let you know how much I bloody love this podcast. I'm from Canada, but now live in Australia, so listening to it is like a warm Canadian hug. So thank you very much. Also, I loved you mentioning wishing that in the last podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell you, Saved is a goddamn gorgeous song. And man, that one should have been a global hit. And finally, I love when you guys talk about sobriety. Can you talk a little bit more about it? I'd love to hear more about your experience, because I just got sober a couple of years ago. Man, what a gift that's been. And if you ever want a Canadian Australian guest appearance, I'd love to come on.
Good to know.
Send us your info.
Thank you for all
Send
you
us
do.
your info. I'd love to talk to you for 10 minutes. So we could definitely talk to you about, and especially on Patreon too, about sobriety and moving,
I have
obviously,
her
your
email.
family. We've got your email. We're going to reach out to you. But thank you so much for listening. It's
I know, I love that.
fantastic to have listeners all over the world.
Want one more?
Yes, this is so addictive, especially when they're nice.
Okay, I mean, not that I know that this
Caitlin, your
next one.
mother's a
Hi, Jan, Caitlin, and Sarah. This is Matthew from
Another Hamilton,
Ontario. And I have a question for your Ask Us Anything segment. In a prior episode, Jan had mentioned that one of her house chores as a kid was ironing in front of the television and that she would put on Star Trek. So my question is, Jan, are you a huge Star Trek fan? Do you still watch it these days with the latest Star Trek series? And how would you rate yourself on your fandom of Star Trek? And Caitlin and Sarah, are you guys fans at all? And tell us a little bit more.
Over to you, Caitlin.
Okay.
Give it to us.
I loved Star Trek when I was growing up, when I was a kid. So I was, based on the time I would have been watching, I was a huge fan of the Next Generation. So I was a Next Gen girly, and I really enjoyed it. It was on in my house intermittently. I loved, what was the name of the telepathic counselor on it? Dang it.
Solo? No, that's Star Wars.
That's Han Solo.
Data.
No, Data's the AI. Data, it was the comedic relief for me on the show because he was a robot and just was like the most dry. Anyways, I thought the actor who played Data on Next Generation, give him an award. No, Deanna Troy. I always really
the medium.
Yeah, she was like psychic. She had psychic abilities and she had like a beautiful curly hair, and then the redheaded.
It was Nigella Lawson.
Yeah, it was like very that. It was very that vibe. And then the beautiful, like sharp redheaded doctor who had like a flirtatious relationship with the captain. I liked it. I really liked it.
They were boinking. I think they were boinking.
I think they probably did. And they had like, I don't know, it was almost like an office, like a situation office show in some ways, because that's really what the ship was. It was their workplace.
Yeah.
Sarah, Trekkie fan?
I feel like I was like a passive Trekkie fan, but then I did date a Trekkie and things got a little weird during that time in my household.
Okay.
Like it was too much. He was obsessed. It was like always on the TV when we were falling asleep. Like it was kind of an always thing. But the old generation, not the new stuff. I did get a chance to interview LeVar Burton at a Comic-Con in London, Ontario once upon a time. And that was definitely like a highlight interview.
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah, he was so cool, and got some stuff signed by him. But yeah, my claim to fame on radio in London, Ontario at one point was trolling Star Trek and Star Wars fans. Like I would mix it up on purpose on the phone calls with people, like to piss them off. People kind of like
You're mean spirited.
I'd be like, "Happy May the 4th to all the Trekkies," and they'd be like,
"Shut up."
That's the wrong franchise.
Okay, well, during ironing, 13-inch black and white television, rabbit ears with foil. There was absolutely no satellite at that time in the 70s out where we lived.
Yeah.
And William Shatner came on. I think by the time I got home from school, I timed it out just right, ran home from the bus down the road, got my Pop Shop pop, got my generic Co-op salt and vinegar chips, got the iron all fired up, and got this can of starch ready to do my dad's shirts. And then I would just watch it. And the first butterfly I ever had where my stomach flipped, and I was about 12, almost 13 years old, was William Shatner.
Yeah.
Jan's childhood crush is William Shatner.
Yeah. So he was so compact in his little pants and his hair and his shirt. And he was always like,
compact. That's what we want to hear about a man's pants.
I can't bones. I don't know if we'll make it through William Shatner had this gait in speaking. But yeah, I got a butterfly ironing, and I thought, what the fuck was that? And it was because I had like a hormonal surge, probably looking at his groin in those little pants.
Must have been the starch. Must have been the starch.
And,
I don't know.
I'm loving the flattery that you've used to describe him. You're like, he was so compact and his little tight pants.
And when you met him in real life, because
I've never met him.
Not even at a Juno's? I feel like you
No,
both
I've
have been
never
at the
fucking
same
met William
Juno's.
Shatner. No, I don't know
We need
how
to
I would
fix
feel.
this.
Yeah.
Well, it would be great
That
if
was
he
Jan's
came on the
first
pod.
flutter.
But so I would say I know nothing about Next Generation.
Surprise guest, William Shatner. We're getting him.
I know nothing about the all the series that took place afterwards. I do know who that Picard is.
Yeah. Yes.
I know who Luke Picard is, or Captain Luke Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard. And I did watch something on like HBO or something. There was a limited series about him trying to get back to a planet that he blew up by mistake. But I didn't know the backstory. I didn't know anything. So I am a 3 out of 10 Trekkie fan, and I'd certainly be thrilled to meet
3 out
William
of 10.
Shatner. Yeah.
Okay.
I know, but I just don't know. I don't. Is crushing after? Does that bring me up to a 5 because I wanted to see his wiener? Like what? Where does that get me?
Probably.
All I know is like this man is 94 years old. We have to get him on the podcast before it's too late.
Okay.
I think
Let's
that's a
chase
great
it down.
That's a quest I am pumped about.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But maybe he'll hear this and understand that I was very adversely affected in a way that I didn't. Bing
Your first
bong,
bing bong.
Bing bong.
You were ready to boldly go where Jann had gone before.
The jokes are endless.
But then, like a few years later, it was like Olivia Newton-John. So I was all over the place. I was just like
you can tell him that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was you and then Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah. But he was first. He was my first. I lost my butterfly virginity to Will Shatner.
I like that. I'm trying to think of who I first had a crush on.
I know exactly who mine is. I know
okay,
exactly.
Who is it?
AJ from the Backstreet Boys, because he was on the I know. However, so I had the Backstreet Boys calendars and I was like super obsessed. I had all the merch and stuff, but he was holding a sunflower in my birthday month in March of that calendar. And I looked, when I opened the calendar, I was like, I'm in love.
Oh my. That's so funny.
I'm going to find that photo.
I think I had like a childhood crush. I mean, I know that I had
sunflower.
I know I had a baby crush on Robin from Batman and Robin when I was like little.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet it was the pants too.
It might have been. I remember thinking he was like young and that Batman was too old. Like I was like, but this was the younger, handsome one. And that's who I liked. And then everyone had a crush on Zach Morris. Burt Ward. Yeah. And then I'm trying to, but I didn't ever lean in the direction of the Backstreet Boys, like NSYNC for crushes. I always had crushes on like the rocker, like the Kirk Cobains and stuff.
Oh yeah. You're a few years older than me, so that checks out perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. I was in love with Kirk Cobain. Like it was a problem.
Did you ever dress up as him for Halloween? Because that's an easy costume, by the way.
I didn't, but I should have.
Next year. It's coming.
A special mention, an honorable mention to Robbie Benson, who made a guest appearance as a fucking whacked out doctor on Severance.
Oh.
And when he came on, Robbie Benson was in Ode to Billy Joe. Remember that? It was a really creepy. You guys are too young, but it was this creepiest movie of a guy committing suicide, and he fell in love with this girl. And Gwyneth,
this actor.
He just was beautiful.
His eyes.
And he was on Severance, but I had a huge poster of Robbie Benson, and I would kiss the poster.
Oh.
I would kiss the Robbie Benson poster like really hard. Like I'd go up to his lips on the. Yes.
Yeah.
Is that Robbie Benson? Yeah. Isn't he handsome?
Some steely blues.
He's hot.
You should see him when he was young. My God in heaven.
He's so hot now.
Just if we're on crushes, one more honorable mention that, and I think about it now and I'm just like, man, this guy did not age well. And it was John Travolta, and it was Welcome Back, Kotter. And I had a poster that I think I got through saving cereal box lids, and we had to send them in if you collected all these box top lids, and you'd send them into post or whatever, and then you literally got a poster back like for free. And he was in a blue denim like jean shirt, and his eyes were as blue as his shirt. And I just thought he was like the most gorgeous guy. And I had him in my closet, and I'd open my shirts to see him in there. Like I had a little John Travolta shrine, but he did not age well. Like he lost his cuteness. He was into Scientology, and he kind of lost me there. But I still have the fucking poster. That was from the 70s. I still have the John Travolta poster.
He might have become a little bit wonky, but he can sure as heck still rock a wig. So good for him.
Yeah. He's had a lot of tragedy. So let's be honest. He
has.
Yeah.
It's just like, honestly, imagine being that famous for that long and like on every which way of fame. Like you've probably lived about 10,000 different lives. So yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of, keep going.
No, I'm not going. You go.
I was just being further dragged into my horny youth, and we don't need to stay there and live there.
my first kiss behind the portables, it was like a cheek kiss,
no,
like a cheek kiss.
I like it.
Literally a cheek kiss, and oh my God, it was like I thought that the world knew that this had happened. I was so terrified to walk around in whatever, I think it was grade 3 or 4. I was terrified to walk around and having people know that I had a kiss on the cheek behind the portable. I feel like my friends made fun of me. It was like a whole thing.
Greg K gave me gum so I'd kiss him. He gave me a double bubble to kiss him on the mouth. And I did. It was my Greg K, K-A-Y-E. And that was, that's being paid for sex, really, when you think about it. I got
prostitution,
gum. It was transactional.
Sex workers work.
As I got older, I would sleep with men for a steak sandwich, fries, and a carafe of House White. So that's just the way it went. That's welcome to my 20s, everybody. Welcome to my 20s.
People have done worse for less, I'm sure. So
yes. So good.
Thanks for joining us for the Jann Arden podcast. We're just talking about childhood crush memories. It started off with William Shatner, and it's going to end with who's going to do the finale.
Wait.
Crusher.
I have a very CanCon one, and it was the lead.
Okay.
This was a legit first butterfly where I was like, I need to find a way to meet this person and then run away with them. It was the lead singer of I, Mother Earth.
Wait, which one?
Holy shit.
Are we talking about Brian or are we talking about Edwin?
I didn't know there was anyone other than Edwin. So Edwin.
Okay. Edwin is part 2.
So Edwin is now and forever the lead singer of I, Mother Earth for me. All I know is I'd listened to the song. I didn't know what anyone looked like, but I loved Much Music. And when I saw it was on the countdown, the top 30 countdown. And when I saw the video for One More Astronaut and he sat in that chair, I was like, I've never wanted to be a goddamn armchair more in my life. I was like, who is this man? Where do I find him? What has he done to his hair?
It's so funny.
I've never wanted to be an armchair more than I have at this time in my life. That is something else to have. Yeah.
I need to look up the timing of this. Okay, One More Astronaut. I feel like it's 96.
Maybe.
96. Look at me in my rock vibes.
Good for you, Sarah.
But that's also same year as Jan. Which album is 96 for
Happy?
you?
It was a Happy record.
Okay, so you've got Jan on Much Music in the countdowns. You've got I, Mother Earth, and you've got Backstreet Boys. I'm just pulling it all together here.
Yeah.
No, I like this a lot. It's like sliding doors.
I wonder if there was anyone crushing on me. I think I don't know what night you guys were on at the Massey show, but I did one the Monday. Okay, the Tuesday night. It might have been the first night I was talking about, mixtape and sort of the origins of making mixtapes for your betrothed, like people that you loved. And whether it was a girlfriend or a guy that you had a crush on, you'd make that cassette and you'd give it to him. And then that story kind of led me into a making out, with this guy in probably early 80s, and he had a mixtape of like making out music, right? We were just we'd have pash rash. Like my mouth was so sore.
The pash rash?
Because he would this guy had just started shaving and there was bristles there. My fucking mouth looked like I'd taken a Brillo pad and just like scraped it around my mouth. But anyway, we're making it out, and then I just remember like these it wasn't the 80s. This was in the 90s. I'm taking it all back. One of my songs came on his makeout mixtape. I'm not kidding you. I was in my 30s, and this one of my songs came on, and I called it. I'm like, nope, we're not going any further. I don't know what song it was, Die for You or something. And so it was definitely I was in my 30s.
That's crazy. It was always embarrassing for me when I knew that a guy turned on their sex mix, and it always, like, I was like, you can't know that that's what they've done. It has to be covert. Like, it has to just come on and you don't notice.
Okay.
But if I remember, there's like 2 distinct moments I remember where I could tell that someone had turned on a pre-planned sex list, and I was like, yep. Oh, guess what? Just arrived. My period. I gotta go. Like, I was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
No, do you want to know the song that, like, the first song I remember feeling horny to?
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you ready for this?
This is free. Ready? You're getting all this information for free.
Yeah, this should be on OnlyFans, but anyways.
Remember that? It was also on the Much Music Countdowns. I remember that song Next, So Close.
Yes, Too Close by Next.
Or Too Close.
Yeah.
Too Close by Next.
Dancing too close.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember being like, ooh, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Why do I want to slow dance too close?
No shortage of boys at high school dances had to belt tuck their you-know-whats when that song came on. Just saying.
Well, I think everyone did experience a slow dance with a Woody, like all of a sudden springing up.
For sure.
When you're like in 10th and 11th grade, I remember that vividly. I'm not going to name names, but I just felt this thing. It sort of came from nowhere. And I thought, do you have like a screwdriver in your purse? Like, what is happening here? Like
in your purse
or in your pocket. Do I have a screwdriver in my purse? But
yeah, you can't help. I mean,
and then the chaperones would always split us up.
Yeah.
The chaperones would tap you on the shoulder and say you're too close. Like we had to have
like
6
the song
inches.
Says.
You'd had to have like a 6-inch gap between, and we would measure it with their penises, which is ironic.
I was just going to say, I can't. The number of punchlines that have just been set up are numerous.
You know, this time of the year brings out the best in you. It's like we mentioned summer, and Jan's summer romance stories just come flowing out.
Well, you know, it wasn't always that, but I do remember the chaperones. Listen, when you go to a small school and the pickings are slim to fucking none, when these people are like brothers to you that you've grown up with and been on the bus, and there's if a new boy or girl came into the school, like for the boy, anyway, it was, oh my God, the poor new kids that came in. I remember Kim and Debbie Dunning came from California. They'd gone to some fucking California. They were beautiful California babes with candy heels. Remember those candy shoes that were like the plastic resin shoes? Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And they came in, all hell broke loose with the guys. And the girls were we were all just like, we looked at ourselves like, you are the ugliest slogs that ever lived anywhere. We realized like how out of touch and how out of fashion we were. They just came in with tube tops and their shirts were tied in knots like Britney Spears in front of their torsos.
The knot is back.
Oh God, the knot is back.
So we're jelly sandals. The Row is charging $900 a pair. So buckle up.
Anyway, I'm listen, that's our show. We could go on and on about summer crushes, but maybe you can leave us voice notes about your summer crushes.
Yes, please.
Because we would love to hear about the shenanigans that you guys got up to. And I don't know if anyone played that closet game when you spin the bottle and have to go into a shoe closet or something.
Two separate games. 7 minutes in heaven and spin the bottle.
I'm older than you. We had one combined game back in the 70s, Sarah. Thanks for listening to the Jann Arden podcast and show. You can subscribe to us, and that way our podcast will find its way into your computer or your phone week after week. You won't even have to try. You can also give us a review. 5 stars would be great. That helps people find our podcast as well. You can become a Patreon member. We have a $5 level, and you get lots of extra content and videos and stuff every week. Or you can also be part of our book bag. Should we what?
I'm looking on Patreon. We're just going to call this now for this week's episode. The votes are in.
Okay.
And we are holding our book bag on Eliza Reid's Death of Diplomat Death on the Island, depending which copy you have.
Yes.
Tuesday, June 24th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Jan Mountain Time. We call it JST.
That's the time that won this time. So people want to get it done. They want to go to bed early.
Well,
want to have a beer.
Eliza's in Reykjavik.
Yeah, she's in Iceland, so we had slimmer pickings, but we'll do an evening next one again. That's okay.
So if you haven't already joined the book bag, I just want to say you really do need to join the book bag if you're a book lover, if you're so inclined, because of course you get all the extra Patreon content, the extra episode every single week, all that stuff. But then you get the book bag meetings, and sometimes on those meetings we will have the author themselves join us, as we will this time.
That is really cool that Eliza's going to... And keep in mind, folks, this is the former First Lady of Iceland.
I know.
You can ask her anything about that or the book in the Zoom. It's going to be fun.
How often can you say you were on a Zoom with the former First Lady of Iceland? Like never.
You can't say it. And I was also on a tour at the Icelandic Writers Festival with her husband, the former president, and he was her freaking tour guide. So it was nuts.
Just nuts.
And he's like, I know you can't say my name. It's very hard for English people to say my name. So this is how you say it. You picture my knee and you say, that is a good knee. Good knee. That's how you say my name. So it really helped us to remember good knee. So here's a guy with a ball cap and a knapsack. The bus is now taking us back after an 8-hour day to take us to the hotel. Him and Eliza had built a house on this lava field. We'll have to talk to her about it when we see her. He stopped the bus. He said, thank you for being. This is Good Knee signing off. You've been wonderful. We see this guy with a ball cap, the former president, no security, nothing, making his way across a lava field to their house, which was 1.5 miles away. I could see his house as a speck in the horizon. And Chris said to me, is he just going to walk across the lava field home? I'm like, I'm assuming that's how they do it here in Iceland.
Like, as you do. That's
amazing.
Great. We'll ask her about that.
Yes, sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to make sure that we confirm the time. And for our OnlyFans, we always have a recording after. So if we can't make it,
Okay. Well, thanks for listening as always. We'll see you next week. We have lots of great guests over the summer, and we're going to do our best to make sure the content is fresh and fabulous and that we all just keep in constant contact. We'll see you next time. Toodly-doo.